Hey everyone, Lincoln from WallStreetZen here. WallStreetZen is a powerful, easy-to-use stock research platform for part-time investors to do in-depth fundamental analysis without wasting hours doing manual number crunching and analysis. In this video, I want to walk you through our top analyst feature and show you how you can use it to find your next stock idea in 10 minutes or less. But before we get into how to use it, let me explain why you should use it. WallStreetZen makes it easy to follow what the smart money is doing right now, as well as how they've performed historically. We track historical analyst recommendations so you can get stock ideas and forecasts from proven performers. We rank over 3,000 analysts based on their performance, win rate, and consistency, so you can find the best investments recommended by the best analysts in no time flat. A lot of tools may let you see analyst recommendations, but we take it a step farther by actually tracking how those recommendations play out. By doing so, we can identify the truly best performers. Now, investing is really just a game of opportunity cost. You have a ton of options available to you, but you can only select a handful to put into your portfolio. In fact, there are over 6,000 public companies in the United States alone. So how do we identify which of those companies we should put in our portfolios? And equally importantly, how do we do this efficiently without spending hours upon hours manually researching stocks? How about taking a look at the current recommendations of the best performing analysts at the top banks and brokerages around the world? These analysts spend day after day, year after year, analyzing and making recommendations and predictions on stocks. For us, that seems like a great place to start, and was the whole idea behind our top analyst page. By default, this page is sorted by each analyst's current ranking. As mentioned earlier, this ranking is determined by performance, win rate, and consistency. Let's check out the profile of our currently number one ranked analyst, Leo Mariani. We can see over the past couple of years, Leo has had some big winners. But I want to scroll a little bit farther down to see what he's recommending lately. It looks like 11 days ago, he maintained his strong buy rating on Viper Energy. By hitting this drop-down arrow, we can see that Leo has been recommending this stock for more than 2 years, an indication that he's a pretty big fan. By clicking on the ticker, we're taken to the forecast page, which shows all of the analyst recommendations. It looks like there are 4 analysts tracked on WallStreetZen that are currently offering ratings on Viper, 3 of which are strong buys. If we scroll down, we can see that each of these 4 analysts is in the top 3% of all analysts ranked on WallStreetZen. Before we go any further into the forecast, let's back up to see what Viper's business is. Scroll down here and see the company's overview. It looks like they are in the oil and natural gas industry. We have a total Zen score of 58 right now, which is broken down into the 5 dimensions. Valuation is 57, financials are 43, the forecast is 100, the performance is 30, the dividend is 60. Going to the valuation section, we can see that Viper is currently slightly undervalued, but not significantly undervalued. Similarly, their financials look pretty good, with short-term assets exceeding short-term liabilities, increasing profit margin, but they do have some debt. Now let's make a note of the 100 forecast, but we'll take a deeper look at this on the forecast page in just a minute. Jumping to performance, it looks like Viper has grown slightly slower than the industry average, and their dividend of almost 4.5% is in the top 75% of all US companies, but it looks like it's been a little unstable in the last 10 years. Now, hitting the show more drop down here, we can see all of the primary financial ratios. Discussing these in depth is slightly outside of the scope of this video, but it should be noted that next to each one of these ratios is an information box that explains it further, how it's calculated, and also how you can use it to see if a company is under or overvalued. Let's quickly look at one of my favorite ratios, the PEG. Now the PEG ratio is the PE ratio divided by the forecasted earnings growth rate. Currently, Viper has an attractive PEG ratio of 0.63 times. Hovering over the information button, we can see that PEG ratios of less than 1 may indicate a company is undervalued. Now that we've added some color to what we know about Viper, let's head back to the forecast page to see what the analysts have to say about it. Now this page is driven by what analysts are forecasting about this stock. Let's scroll down a bit to see what they're projecting for earnings and revenue growth. Wow, look at those numbers. We can see that Viper's earnings are expected to grow at a rate of 66% per year, as well as 21.5% year-over-year revenue growth. These numbers are exceptional and is probably a large part about what makes this stock so attractive to these analysts. We can also compare these forecast figures to the industry and the market as a whole. As a quick aside, we could view Viper next to all of the oil and gas midstream stocks, but again, that's a little outside the scope of this video. Now we could take a look at the earnings, dividend, and ownership makeup, but that's a little bit beyond what we're trying to do today. So for now, I'm just going to add this to my further due diligence watch list. That way, I can come back to it later and do a little bit more in-depth research. Now let's quickly examine another way you can use the top analyst feature here on WallStreetZen. Say you own Apple stock and want to know what the smart money has to say about it. We can simply go to the search bar and type it in. Again, I'll navigate to the forecast screen. And it looks like there are 26 analysts offering ratings for Apple, and the consensus is a strong buy. There's 15 strong buys, 4 buys, and 7 holds. Now I like this stock and I hold it in my portfolio, but it's always good to research why others don't. Fortunately, with my premium membership, I can just scroll down here, find a top-ranked analyst that has one of the hold ratings, and click Find Out Why to learn exactly why he has a price target of 170, which is basically where Apple is at right now. Now, I'm not too concerned with what Tim has to say, but let's look at another one. It looks like Sammy is skeptical that Apple will be able to keep up its current revenue growth, which I tend to agree with, but I'm in Apple for the long haul, so I'm actually just going to make a note of what he has to say, but I'll leave it in my portfolio without making a change. Notice, it's already in my portfolio watch list. So there you have it, WallStreetZen's top analysts section. Remember, as a free user, you are limited to just 10 profile visits per month. I hope this walkthrough was helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.